Welcome back. We're in lesson 11, and today we're going to talk about something called reciprocals or multiplicative inverses. Okay, say that 5 times fast. You will stumble. I'm here to tell you I have to focus really hard to say that. So what is a multiplicative inverse or a reciprocal? It's just the flipped version of a fraction or a whole number. So for instance, if I had 2/3, the reciprocal, and this is how you say that, hang on, checking my spelling. I'm a math person. Yeah, that's an O. Reciprocal would be 3/2. See, it's just the flipped version of this fraction. What if I have a whole number? Let's say I have the number 5. Then the reciprocal would be 1/5. Why is it 1/5, Miss Tracy? That's just a 5. Because we make any whole number a fraction by putting it over 1. Okay? Does this not still retain the value of 5? Yes, it does. Because when we divide 5 by 1, the answer is 5. Okay? So the reciprocal of the whole number 5 is 1/5. What if we have a negative number? The negative always stays in the numerator. So a negative 3/8 becomes, well, it doesn't equal, the reciprocal is negative 8/3. Okay? And I wrote R here instead of all of that because it's just faster. But that's what this means, is reciprocal. It does not mean radius. So that is all there is. And reciprocal is just another word for multiplicative inverse. Now, there are a few rules. This does not have a reciprocal. It just doesn't. Because you can't divide anything. Your answer would be 0 and the other answer. And see, 0 is the only number that does not have a reciprocal. So just scratch that. It's undefined. We just say, nope, can't do it, moving on. Right? That's what you do. When you see one of those in a problem, you get something over 0, and it's asking for the reciprocal, say undefined, UND, period, moving on. And just keep going. All right, so now we're going to talk about something, by the way, put this in your notes. Actually, put the whole thing here. I don't know why I just did that one little bit. Put all of this. This is a sample reciprocal, right? The reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. The reciprocal of 5 is 1/5. And you might want to write this like this. Reciprocal is 1/5. So that you can see that this was originally a whole number. Put that in your notes. And if you want to write that other big long word, is multiplicative inverse. Means the same thing. Just say reciprocal. I know what you're talking about. All right, so let's clear the page after you take your notes. Pause if you need to, if I'm going too fast, and then press play when you're ready. So let's talk about the order of operations. We have an order of operations that we as a mathematics world agreed to a long, long time ago, back when there were like only 4 mathematicians or something in the world. Anyway, it's called PEMDAS, for those of you who are born after 1980 something. When I was in high school, it was order of operations. We didn't learn PEMDAS, but now PEMDAS just helps you remember what it is. PEMDAS is parentheses, exponents, like that, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. All right. Now, here's the rule. Parenthesis comes first. Whatever is inside the parenthesis, you do that first. right? It doesn't matter if it's addition, subtraction, multiplication, whatever. You do this first, okay? After what's in here, then you do, if there's an exponent on the outside, then you do your exponent, okay? If you have multiplication or division somewhere else, then you do that later. And then if you have some addition and subtraction, you do that last. And multiplication and division are done in the order they appear in the sentence. And addition and subtraction are done in the order that they appear in the sentence. So if our problem is, like I've illustrated up here, 4 minus 2 divided by 1 minus 3 to the second power times 7 plus 8. Looks pretty complicated. Well, let me rewrite it down here. What do we do first? What's in the parentheses? 1 minus 3, that's negative 2. Okay, 4 minus 2 divided by negative 2 times 7 plus 8. Well, now we have an exponent. We do that next. So 4 minus 2 divided by negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 times 7 plus 8. Now what do? Now we do the division and the multiplication. So negative 2 divided by 4 is negative 1/2. And times 7, right? Remember, we make a whole number a fraction by putting it over 1, so we can actually do the multiplication, and the negative is always in the numerator, so it's going to be negative 7 over 2. So 4 plus negative 7 over 2 plus 8. So it's actually 4 minus 3.5 plus 8. Well, this is positive and this is positive. So we can, this is down to addition and subtraction. We can rearrange it any way we want to now. So we can say, or we don't have to, we can say 4 minus 3.5 is going to leave us with 1/2 plus 8, which equals 8.5. All right, not too shabby for a problem I just made up out of the air. But anyway, those are your order of operations. If you follow them, everybody would end up with the same answer. So let's get some practice problems here. Let's do 11.1. We've only got 3 problems, so let's do those right quick. 11.1 says 4 times 3 plus 2 plus negative 3 times 5. So following PEMDAS, we do multiplication and division. I have some parentheses, but there's nothing to do inside the parentheses. It's just a negative number, so we can rewrite this. If we want to get rid of the parentheses, we can. We rewrite it such that it's negative 3 times 5, right? That's the way that works. We can rewrite this even better and say 4 times 3 plus 2 minus 3 times 5. I think that's actually a little bit clearer. So now we take care of the multiplication. So that's 12 plus 2, and negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Now we can do the addition and subtraction. That's going to be 14 minus 15. That's going to be negative 1. And yes, that's the correct answer. So if me and the book agree, that means I did PEMDAS correctly. Let's do 11.2. 11.2 says negative 5 times 2 minus 3 plus 6 times 3. Okay, so negative 5 times 2 is negative 10 minus 3 plus 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, notice how I did the multiplication and in the order that it occurred, but I skipped over the addition and subtraction. I just skipped it and went on to the multiplication. So negative 10 minus 3 is going to be negative 13 plus 18, that's going to be 5. And yes, that is the same answer the book got, so I did it in the correct order. Let's do the last one, 11.3. I want you guys to do it and come back and see what you got. And the problem says 4 times 3 minus 2 times 5 plus 6, my goodness, minus 5 times 2. That's a whole lot. All right, so pause the video, work this problem, and then come back and see if you got the same answer I did. All right, if you added these correctly, or you did the operations correctly in the correct order, then you should have gotten a negative 2 as your answer right down here. If you did not get a negative 2, let's go over how we did this so that you can see where you made a mistake and learn from it. So first of all, we have 4 times 3. So I rewrote that just so it was clear to me. Sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to rewrite it so it makes sense. And then we had minus 2 times 5. So I wrote that this way just so it was clear. Plus 6, that's just a plus 6 by itself. So I just brought it down. Minus 5 times 2, and I rewrote that as well. I just like writing it like this so it's clear to me. You don't have to write it this way. You can go straight down here and do this part. So 4 times 3 is 12. And then I had to do the next multiplication, which was 2 times 5. So it was minus 10. Okay, you just bring this operation in between straight down. Same thing for the plus. You bring it straight down. The 6, it was an addition. You couldn't do it yet because you're still doing multiplication. So bring it straight down. And then you had this last multiplication, which was negative 5 times 2, which gives you a negative 10. So then, now all I have left is addition and subtraction, so I'm going to do it in the order it occurs. 12 minus 10 is 2. 2 plus 6 is 8. 8 minus 10 is negative 2. And that's what you should have gotten and how you should have gotten it. And if you are confused at all or need some more help with that, please let me know. And we will connect in some way, message, Zoom, or something. Anyway, if you're having some struggles with that, please let me know. We have one more section, and it is identifying multiplication and addition. And it actually says to do what I just did, what I just showed you. Let me clear this page and show you what I'm talking about. It says that when you have a problem that looks like this, let me write this for you. That the where the parentheses are located gives you all the clues of what you need. If you have a negative sign or a minus sign in front of a whole number, it stays with that sign, okay? You can rewrite this if you need to in another way, and you could say 4 plus, remember the buckets that we did earlier? You could say 4 plus negative 3 times positive 5 plus negative 7 times negative 6. Now this negative is on the outside, right? Now remember, if you have a negative on the outside of a parenthesis, sub in a number 1 here, okay? Because it's asking for the opposite of this number. To alleviate the confusion that causes, just put in a number 1 here, and then you can write it like this. Negative 1 times 4 times negative 5. That is so much clearer than minus 4 times minus 5. Okay? So now you can very clearly see what steps you need to take and where the multiplication happens versus where the addition and subtraction happens. So now you can write 4 plus and do these two, and that's a negative 15. And actually, one of the things that I have taught my children to do is to don't write the plus sign, okay, until you identify whether or not this is going to be positive or negative. Instead, just write a minus sign. Say 4, and then put the little line. Negative 3 times 5 is negative 15, so I just write the 15. If I had written the plus, I would have had to erase it and start over like I just did. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to write minus negative 7 times negative 6 is a positive 42. So it's a positive 42. So I just changed the negative sign to a positive sign. Easy peasy. You can't go from the positive to the negative. You have to erase. So just do the negative sign first and then make it positive if it ends up being positive. Same thing here. We're going to put a negative sign in. Negative 1 times 4 is positive 4 is a negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 5 is a positive 20. So positive 20. Okay? Now all you have left is addition and subtraction. So we can do the math. 4 minus 15 is negative 11. Negative 11 plus 42 is going to be 31. 31 plus 20 is 51. Okay, so you see how I went from this confusing thing here to something much clearer. Whenever you have this situation where you have a minus in between, put the 1 there and treat it like a negative 1 and just put your plus signs in between. It will make all the difference in the world. And then whatever the product is of these two numbers that you're multiplying, let that dictate the sign that goes in between each of those to determine your addition and subtraction operations. And that should be much clearer, okay? And hopefully you understand where you are and what I just did. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to contact me. That is what I'm here for. And that's all I have for lesson 11. I will see you in lesson 12.